Oh, there, are you recording? Sorry, I didn't check first. All right, cool. So yeah, so the content ownership agreement, I already added it to Gitbook, and I added it under the collective TEC collective agreements, but I think it doesn't show there yet because it needs the admin approval. So after that, it should appear in this section. And then I remember we talked about adding it to Discord as well. So when people join Discord, it's one of the agreements that they have to agree with, to sign before they join the Discord server. But then on the Discord, there's a portion there that says that if you if you sign or check that message, and then it means that you're also agreeing to the covenant. And we made this agreement, this content ownership agreement, part of the covenant. So I think it already makes sense that even if we don't explicitly state there that they're agreeing to this content ownership agreement, and it's that it means that they also agree, that they agree with the document. So I'll let you know once it's here. And I know, Teresa, you have an open GitHub issue for that, so I'll just drop updates there if it's
Okay.
already yeah.
I have a question. In the
Mhm.
Discord, once you get in, there's a link to the covenant, right? Or just like it
Yeah,
only says, okay, there's a link. Oh,
there's a
great,
link.
perfect.
Yeah. If not, if it doesn't have the link, we can I can edit it and add the link to the covenant. But I checked yesterday. I think it has the link on
Great, thank you.
Discord. All right, and then the covenant. Oh. I think Tex was working on this earlier today. He already integrated the feedback on accountability here. So I think let's see what he added here. Such accountability. Okay, so I think what he added here are the methods that we are suggesting the community to follow or to do, so we can monitor accountability in the community. I think that his question is this one. He said that this part this suggestions don't have to be in this document, and I agree. But I think this suggestions can be directed toward SoftGov or Olivia, and then they can apply. They can decide if they want to adopt these suggestions. So yeah, I don't know if you have other suggestions or feedback on this on the latest changes.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, I think it's super important for SoftGov to agree with everything in the covenant and in the terms and all of that. So I think that's a great move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing that I made here, I think I originally put this statement under decision making, but I think it makes more sense to be under cultural enforcement. Though cultural enforcement talks more about gravity, I think the this section fits here more than decision making, because it's about the other agreements and and the community spaces that we use, and it's more for culture rather than making decisions. So I'll let Livia review these changes, and she can just accept them if she agrees with them. So that's the latest. All right. So if there's no more question about the covenant. Yeah, we talk about this topic was brought up in our last call, but we weren't able to finish talking about it. So I had a sync with Griff the other day, and yeah, I asked for his advice, and he said that if we want, because right now the current compensation for legal contributors are hi Griff. Yeah, I was just sharing with Teresa and Bear that the current compensation is through the reward system. But if we want to compensate you, Teresa, and Tex for working on those two documents, the consent ownership agreement and the covenant, then we can request a retroactive compensation through through the gardens. So I don't know how you want to proceed with that, or are you happy to to receive the rewards from praise?
I mean, to be quite honest, I have no idea how the praise method works. I'll just read about it. I think like what Bonju was saying about just like having a different funding for like different things in the legal guild, just as other in the legal team, just as in other working groups, will be good, especially if we're gonna like the next topic, like what you mentioned about having calls and all of that, and we wanna like onboard new lawyers who want to participate in TC. I think it would be like interesting for them to have this other sort of retribution.
So the process for that would be to make a forum post and be like, hey, we want to request like $5,000 or $10,000 for active proposals or active like participation in legal, and basically make a forum post what we want to use the money for. And then it can go to the same multi-sig we already have, and then we can have that budget, or we could do it for a specific project that we have an idea for and request money there. And it's basically, the process is make a forum post, wait 5 days, post on the gardens. And it's actually really easy to post on the gardens too. It's like, you'd be surprised at how easy it is. But yeah, and then so it's way easier than any kind of other grant application or anything like that, because you get to decide what you write in the forum post and how you want to structure it, what format. There is a template if you'd like, and then that money is there, and you can even have it just go to you to dish out if you want. It's really decentralized, it's really up to it's kind of a duocracy. So the process is in place, but then it's kind of up to every individual how they want to use it. So that's also how you do retroactive funding. You're going to yeah. So wait, do you have any questions on that before I explain how praise works?
No, I think that's clear. My question was about praise mostly, actually.
So I think if you did an explicit task and you feel like you should be compensated for it, you should not rely on praise as income. Instead, think of it as like bonus points for like doing good work, and just request funding through the same path. Say, put up a forum post, say what you did, and then say like how much money you want, and then wait 5 days and put it up in the garden. But you'll get praise no matter what. It's not really an either or thing, and praise is really cool. It's basically like any of us or anybody can just type in \praise Teresa CD for doing this work, right? But someone has to do that. And I think you can even praise yourself if you'd like for doing the work. And then, and then that gets quantified. So every 2 weeks, people look at all the praises and say like what they did, or kind of give it a score. And based off of that score, each praise ends up getting a certain number of TEC tokens allocated to it. and then you would get the TEC tokens. And but you have to get praise started, you have to go to any room and hit /activate, and then you add your Ethereum address there, and it'll walk you through how to like connect your Ethereum address to the praise system, and then TEC will just start flowing into your wallet as you participate. And so it's a really crazy decentralized reward system. Anyone can praise anybody every 2 weeks. Volunteers from the community who do get paid in TEC to do this work go through and give a score to a randomly selected number of praises, and then that outputs into TEC tokens. It's pretty wild. You know, there's not one person directing who gets paid money where. It's really this like low level, like, but it's not much money. You know, we're talking, I think it's somewhere around $4,000 every 2 weeks to everyone who gets praise. And I don't know, Bear 100 or Ivy, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, if those numbers have changed, but it'll be like $1,000 to $2,000 a week to everyone who is praised. So it's not a lot of money, you know. If the TEC price goes up, then it becomes more money, but that's kind of the overview of the praise system.
I understand. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Hey, Leo. Hey, Livia. Take it, Ivy.
Okay, so yeah, maybe before we go to the future plans for the legal working group, since Livia just joined, I just wanted to mention that we submitted the content ownership agreement in the Gitbook. And yeah, so if we're just waiting for the admin to approve it, so it will appear here. And then regarding the covenant, so TEC's already integrated some feedback from the last call, and I also added the changes here. So this is where I put the link to the proposal terms and conditions under the DAO enforcement, and I also added a paragraph here to include the content ownership agreement, but not only that. This linked to all the other agreements that we have on Gitbook. So that's why I try to add the content ownership agreement here, so it will be covered by the covenant as well. I'm not sure if this is the right section to put it, the cultural enforcement, but among all the sections here, I feel like it's the best place to put that statement. And then the other thing is the accountability. So this is more like the final text that Unju added. The last change that he made is to add the accountability methods that we are proposing to the like we are suggesting the community to do, so we can monitor accountability. But these are some of the suggestions that came up from last week, and I agree with TEC that we don't have to put this information in this covenant, but maybe we can coordinate these suggestions with you, and it's up to you if you think we can do this suggestion. So for the accountability, one thing that we suggest is to include the roadmap in the TEC proposal template, and then in that way we can follow or monitor the progress of the projects. And if the roadmap changes, then they should update the community about these changes on the. It can be in the forum post that they created when they submit the proposal. And yeah, Teresa also suggested to have monthly updates to the forum post if you want the projects to be more accountable. So those are the updates on the covenant. Do you have a question, Lydia?
That's amazing, Ivy. All of you, really amazing work. I think we should be ready to propose that, right? I feel like it has been here for advice process for a long time, just integrating those changes. I'll open this document now. And yeah, the next step would be proposing on Snapshot, I think. And I just merged the changes in the Gitbook.
Okay, thanks, Levy. So you will be the one submitting this in the forum, right? There's no more
I think you,
action from us.
I think you could submit it. You did most of this work.
Okay. Okay. Should I just add this as a comment to the original covenant post, or should we make a new post for this?
Yeah, let's just make a comment.
Okay. Thanks. All right. And then yeah, so the future plan. So there are a couple of suggestions about the how we want to move forward with the legal working group, because right now there aren't so many tasks actually for our working group. So how can we make it more like productive, or beneficial for the community? So one of the suggestions is to have like to make it like a research and networking session, like do only a monthly call to like just to host a call and invite legal advisors or legal experts to just like make it a legal show, and if like if people have questions about legal stuff in token engineering or in the web3 space in general, then we can just invite them. So that's one suggestion, and it's going to be like a monthly. We will not do the bi-weekly calls anymore, and have just a monthly show or a monthly AMA or Q&A session. The other thing that Griff and I talked about this earlier this week is to keep this as a bi-weekly call, and make it an open call. So if there are things that we need to coordinate in the future, it's still the legal working group call, but we can still like make it open and invite legal experts. So if people are coming to this call, they can still like ask questions if there's nothing to talk about from our team. And yeah, I think Teresa also has another suggestion about the legal guild. I don't know if it's similar to what we had in what was suggested already. Teresa?
Yeah, I think in essence, the basic, the same, because it's just like keep informed to the TEC members of like everything in the legal side. For example, like last call, we had this question that we couldn't resolve, that why did the covenant, I think, or the TEC proposal agreement wasn't open for US and other residents from other countries, and we were like, oh, we have no idea. So like it'll just be great to like have all this information. Like for me, like it'll be great to just have a guide, a written guide for like TC members to like see like all the things in the legal side. It'll be cool as well. Just like a very basic guide for to like resolve all the doubts. And then, like, of course, I think it's a great idea what you guys are proposing of having like legal experts in different subjects, and just having like a legal call. That'll be like super cool. Um, maybe, yeah, like maybe like I'll be afraid if then like if the call for the working group will be mixed with that, because I think it'll be losing the sense of the call. For example, like right now I'm like collaborating with a legal guild at Bangladesh, and I was like planning all the for example, in that case, the podcast and the newsletters and all of that, it requires an organization behind it. For example, if we're gonna have like people come to talk at TC, ideally it will be great to have like a schedule and just like the topics, and then like do like a previews writing about what we're gonna be talking about and all of that, just to have like a little more structured, and not just like people come and they're like, oh, I have this issue, like could you help me solve this, and then the people talking about it. It's like, okay, I don't know like your particular case, and just like taking like a long while explaining each case or something, and not having like any specific topic per call. Plus, like I think like if you bring a lawyer, just like, oh, like it's for you to like solve legal advice for everyone's gonna be like, hey, but like, are you gonna pay me? um it might have negative consequences for me because I'm just giving out legal advice and a call, and then like it can have implications if like that person does is wrong and all of that. So like I think those are topics we should take into consideration and should be worked alongside having the legal calls for the public.
Yeah, I think if we will do the legal, like the not podcast, but like the legal show or legal Q&A, maybe we can just have like just one topic, and then invite a legal expert, someone who knows about the topic, and then yeah, promote it on Twitter or in the community. And if they're interested and have questions around that topic, then they can join. And I also agree with you to keep this bi-weekly call to coordinate this program if we will have it. Because yeah, I mean it. Even if we will have that show, it will still take some planning to do and organization to do. So yeah, and also the budget, we can just propose a budget for it if I know if how we want to compensate the legal experts if we will be inviting them. Does anybody have suggestions or insights?
Hello guys, can you hear me?
We
Oh,
hear
hi.
you.
Okay. So I would like to apologize because I got here late. So I heard about the suggestion to create a schedule to invite legal experts, and I think that it is a good idea. But as Teresa said, it's important to program the subject, when we are going to do that, uh, weekly, monthly, and here from Brazil, I'm really open to see if I can reach out some friends, some lawyers that are experts in this subject, and I'm sure they are really open to talk, to discuss, and and be invited to uh, to the meeting. Uh, but that's it. And I'm getting used to the praise system. I don't know really how does it works, but I'm getting there. And thanks, Cliff, for explaining that.
Yeah, just make sure you activate. That's the main goal now, is just getting everyone to activate so we get their address so that they can just get airdropped TEC. um, yeah, and as far as these calls, like I think it's interesting to have a focused call on legal. I kind of think that we shouldn't add another call to the calendar. Maybe just replace one of the working group syncs with the call, and do like each one monthly, basically. So we don't have a third legal call, but we have like every month is once a month there's like the legal call and maybe we get a few lawyers who are the regulars to be in a Discord group, and we just be like, hey, what's the topic this week? Yeah, we're talking about this one this week, or this month. Like if it was today, we would talk about the UST shit and Luna, and like just have a fun discussion about the legal aspects of having a algo stablecoin that implodes, and like, is Do Kwon fucked? These kind of things. And it'd be a really interesting, fun discussion. And I'd be happy to lead it and make it fun. But and then the other one being like a working group sync, what we're working on, and da da da.
Yeah, that's
I
what
would,
I was. Go ahead, Lydia.
I would also be curious to talk about how we can bring more legitimacy to the legal structures that we are creating in DAOs. Like how all of the rules that we are creating, our covenant, like our inner constitutions, can start to become more and more relevant to create some type of security internally to eventually not have a problem with external legal institutions. That I think is kind of what you all are saying too, but maybe from this internal perspective also.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing what you're saying, Olivia. And about the past one, I thought it was like more like like legal advice for TEC members. That's what I thought the clothes were gonna be. But if it's just like talking about different legal matters, I think that's much easier. And regarding that, regarding what Livia said, I think that would be like very interesting because like I don't know if you guys so also like last week there was this lawsuit in the state of California regarding a couple, well, not like I don't know, like 10 DAO members. I'm not sure about the DAO, but like what the DAO lost like all the tokens and everything because of phishing, and they launched like una demanda colectiva, class action, and it's super interesting to see like where that's heading because it talks about general partnerships and all of that, and so just like having like those things on the table just for us to like also feel protected, as Livia says, of external exposure, and all that would be like good to like have different perspectives and just see like how the legislators go further with it.
Do you know what the DAO was? Do you know any details about this DAO? This is really cool.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the lawsuit, the class action. I'll send it to the Discord.
Is it BZX the
That
with the hack?
yes. Well, it wasn't a hack actually. What they say it's like it's just like well I don't know if that's considered a hack, but just like the guy like one person, it wasn't a multi-sig, but just like one person had the keys, and then like went into a web page and like they took all of the tokens he had. So like it promises like security, like the and all of that, and it didn't have any. It was just like this guy working in his computer himself. So it's quite interesting. Like for example, in that case, the DAO members were from like all around the world, and what they did is like they decided to use the personal jurisdiction of one of the members that was based in California, or maybe like a couple of them. So like the lawsuit entered in California, but I'll send it right away because it's super interesting. And it's super interesting what's gonna what the judge esa palabra jueces, what they're gonna say about it. So I'll send that.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back to Livia's question, like how do we bring legitimacy to our agreements and all these uh, documents that we have. I don't know how we want to address that. Like, who can be, which lawyer, who can help us do that? Because I don't know any, so many lawyers in this community to discuss the topic.
Well, I can definitely gather some of the lawyers that we have, and we pick a topic if we say we're going to do it. In the next legal call, we can kind of, see if we can just have like a monthly discussion about interesting legal topics in the token engineering space and DAO space. And I don't think we need to pick the topic until then, but we could probably lock down a couple lawyers that might be interested.
Yeah, also
Teresa?
on this topic of sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I hope you could come, Teresa. But yeah, go for it.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, of course. No, but I think what Evie said was more on the side of how can we, like, I'm not sure, maybe I got it wrong, and how could we like enforce the covenant of that to like not having issues in the future. Is that what you mentioned, right?
Yeah, like how can our practices be more and more considered like something legitimate in many ways, not only for us internally, but like what are the interactions we've been having with other communities or with like culturally, or I don't know. I don't know what would be the extent of like the impacts we could have with what we're doing, but investigating that could be cool. And on the legitimacy point, Zargam has been going a lot to the legitimacy meetings from Koala, that is this group of lawyers. Maybe he would be interested also to bring like some of those perspectives to legal and to how we could link that with token engineering.
Okay, so should we just like do it next week, or maybe we can start the what do you call this? What we can start planning for this. So one weekly call on coordination, then one weekly call to discuss legal topics, and probably in our next call we can start that and choose a topic instead. I don't know if all of you agree, and then we can already start preparing. But the other thing is, should we make a proposal for it? Like, if we'll be involving more legal experts and we'll be doing more coordination, should we have like a funding proposal for this project?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
Okay. So, Teresa, would you be happy to collaborate with me to work on that proposal and the whole program of having legal experts and holding this other sync to talk about legal topics?
Like, Lily, what you mentioned is like koala with C como koala y P.
Yeah, we'd see.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Teresa, I was trying to ask you if you would be willing to collaborate with me on working on this program and the funding proposal
Oh yes,
as well.
I was mute, but yes, I first said yes. Then all
Okay,
these
cool.
things are true. I'm sorry if
All right. So yeah, so that's the next step for us. Will be working on this proposal and this program, so we can start already having this call in this legal show. I don't know what we want to call it, but yeah, and if you agree, you're Isan, you'll be willing to lead that discussion as well.
Yeah,
And
let's have a half-hour hack sesh next week about it, Ivy, and
okay,
just like
okay,
hash out the details and make a plan for that call. I can promote it. I mean, I've run so many of these silly calls, you know. Open, I think it was like decentralized data now, which used to be open source block explorer now, or community currencies now, or all these things, you know. So we can just make a fun like um, legal call, you know, and just make it like a show, and
yeah,
it's a little talk show.
yeah, yeah. All right, and then yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if We still have 20 minutes left. I don't know if you still have other topics you want to talk about, or we can just wrap up the call early.
No, I mean, I think we can get started. Like, Livia has a very interesting topic that's totally worth discussing. Like, how do we bring legitimacy to our agreements that we have within as a DAO into like the bigger world? Is that pretty much sum it up, Livia?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first step is, you have to be recognized by the legal world. So if you have an agreement as a DAO, being a general partnership is kind of like a bad place to be no matter what. And I assume you would agree with this, Teresa, but definitely jump in if you don't. But it seems like as a general partnership, none of your agreements might still matter to some extent, but if something goes wrong, the individuals are always held accountable or held liable, and it's just like it's a very bad place to be. So like there's got to be some sort of way that you can legitimize yourself as an organization that people have agreements with, as opposed to a bunch of individuals who have agreements with each other.
Actually, like after everything that happened with Terra, I was like very like, well, I'm very pro legislation. Of course, like legislations that are good for people. I mean, like not just like random legislations to like do good for the government or like protect the institutional security. But with the whole E and all of that, it's just like maybe we could like start in general, not just like see. Um, if you want to like protect the people that you're working with and all of that, and like providing a service too, it's part of your job to comply with certain legislations because like for example like when you do comply with them uh you I mean like you're guaranteeing you're doing a good job. I don't know if like that makes sense. uh and like you're like compromising, you're like comprometiéndote, you're like compromising yourself to like do things correctly because if not, you know, like you have like the law behind you. For example, like they didn't comply with some things that what the SEC, I'm not sure what that. I've been thinking about things. It's like legislations related.
You're getting
Sorry.
you're getting cut, Teresa. I don't know if it's just me or it's the same for the rest.
Oh,
I couldn't
that's,
understand most of the things that you said.
oh, I'm sorry. But it was just basically that maybe we should think about in general Web3.
Griff,
Just
I think your mic is open, Griff.
that.
Thanks.
Oh, that. Oh,
I think you can talk again, Teresa. It was getting cut a lot probably because of the open mic. Can you try?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can you try to repeat
No,
what you said? Sorry.
sorry. No, I was just saying that what Livia was saying when mentioning, of course, like if you have like a legal personality for the outer world, it'll give more protection to the people you're working with and all of that. Of course, like legislation and all of that, that's gonna also like be willing to be flexible to you and not just like put a lot of like things you have to do like that are not worth it. But maybe that's an interesting topic. I'm not sure if like TC wants to like be constituted at this moment, but it's just like something that we can like start thinking about.
Okay. Thanks. Teresa, how about you, Leo? Do you have anything you want to share about that topic?
About what? Is that
uh,
I wasn't able to listen.
Leo, I was asking Leo if he wants to, if he has anything to share about that topic?
I've been not right now. I've when Olivia's talked about legitimacy. What came up to my mind was legitimacy beyond the state, like the relationship between us and the community and the legal knowledge of state, and legitimacy as a cultural thing, social thing. I thought in these two points of view.
Yeah, I think maybe the big question is like, since we are such distributed, like we have the cyber organizations that people come from all over the place, and if like when it almost feels like its own state, like we're creating rules that many people are adopting independent of the rules of where they live, like the ways people are being compensated are bound to this cyber organization, and how does this compensation translate to a living wage for them in the places where they're from? Like, what are some of the limitations we have to operate in our max potential due to like external legal constraints that we can't overlap yet? And what are those, and what we could do to go about it, and how this might be affecting the diversity of participation we have, and how people were comfortable interacting with the commons, and I don't know, what are all of the implications that these things can have.
It's like there is no boundaries, right?
Yeah, maybe there is some boundaries we didn't want to have, and then we have our own boundaries, and maybe there are boundaries overlapping our boundaries that are from like legal jurisdictions.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I agree with you. I'm starting to imagine the boundaries. Uh, there's a painting. I don't know how to translate this to English. Like, maybe Teresa can help me. Círculos concêntricos.
Concentric
Like,
circles.
yes, thanks. And in some points, these circles can collide or can grow, like two two circles separated can become one circle, and those can be the boundaries in relationship with each other. I'm trying to imagine this.
Um, I just wanted to share, like, if it's just about the compensation. I mean, if that's one of the things that I think the possible legal issue that people will encounter for this compensation will be tax related. Maybe we can mention um, in the, I don't know if it should be in the proposals or in the covenant, that like a disclaimer that if the people who are getting compensated, and it's like their duty, to pay their to I don't know what's the right term, like to abide by their country's tax laws. So that's one thing that came to my mind when you, Livia, mentioned the compensation, if that's one of the things that one of the concerns.
Yeah, maybe we should have that. And something else could be like, there are countries that ban the use of crypto at all, And what if someone receives TEC tokens and they are in a country that is banned, and they are caught somehow trading TEC, or like how could that affect us?
That's a good topic. It's a really good topic.
I think I read something like that in one of the agreements that we had, but I just have to look for it. I don't know if it's in these proposals or in one of or the hatch terms that Sean created before. But
Yeah, something about being liable for your own taxes.
yeah, and also about for receiving TEC, but I just can't remember where I found it or where I read it before.
But I'm thinking, like, if the person, like, let's say, for example, I was living in Egypt, and Egypt, uh, crypto is forbidden there. What if, I don't know how the country works in a way, like in a surveillance way, but what if they found out that I was like getting paid in TEC and somehow like trading TEC, and they could see my activity? Would there be any problem for the TEC? Like, not for me as a person, but could that impact the TEC in any way? I just, no. Okay. You're muted.
I wouldn't think so. Uh, there are. I feel like when you are a registered entity in a jurisdiction, like say Europe, you have to pay VAT or whatever. But if you're, I don't know, and I'd be really curious if Teresa or anyone else. I mean, I feel like this is one of those problems where it's like, if they could somehow prove that you are acting in this jurisdiction as an entity that is based in that jurisdiction, then you have certain rules that you have to apply for, that you have to abide by. And this is why we have in our terms that we are, and I think these are in the terms, right, Ivy, that we're in Albany, like a Channel Island, and we just picked a location. And if we're interacting with people that live in Albany in that jurisdiction, then there would be certain rules that we would have to abide by. But if you're an international organization, then it's a little bit cleaner on your side for interacting with people that are in that jurisdiction, and most of the rules apply to them. I mean, is that a fair assessment, Teresa?
What I was gonna say is that more than having issues with the government because we're having transactions, so I think it's too abstract because like it'll probably because like when for example here in Mexico where I live, when you as in all of your countries is like when you uh transact the tokens or the coins you have, you just like do it with your personal bank account and also and it gets down in Mexican pesos, not in TC tokens. So like they'll never know. Like once you start paying taxes is when you convert for example your bitcoins to the local currency. But I was like once when you were saying about that, all my I started thinking like maybe like I will be a little bit more concerned, not in the short term, but maybe in a few years or so, depending on how everything develops, about like the social security rights and all of that. That people could start saying like, hey, but like I work for TC full time, and I'm not getting like any benefits of social security, of different things you're provided by like a normal company and your jurisdiction. So like that came into my mind. Maybe we could start thinking about like the derechos de los trabajadores as a possible issue that we could like, confront if someone's mad we see at some point. And yes, that just came into my mind.
Oh, that's a huge part of legitimacy, right? Like, if we think that like legacy systems have have built themselves in a way where the legal aspect of companies and like all the work legal side gives you rights, certain types of rights. The fact that DAOs don't give similar rights to people might be like a weak point in the legitimacy of the constitution and the rules we are creating. Like the fact that we don't have social security or any type of like medical assistance or any of those benefits that companies have.
And more like liabilities that companies have to their government, right? Like these rules where, oh, you have to pay Social Security for your employee, or you have to offer your employee these things. Like, could the TEC org be somehow considered having employees and shit like that, you know? Then I think the big thing here is that you just have to put yourself in a jurisdiction that doesn't have these kinds of issues and make sure that you don't have people in that jurisdiction. I know it's kind of a lame thing, but at least that's the strategy that we took. Right? Ivy, we did put that in the terms somewhere that we're an organization in Albany, right?
In Alderney, yeah, it's here. I'm showing it in my screen. It's in the terms and conditions for submitting and challenging proposals. But it's not the TEC, but it's the smart contract system that we say that's registered in Alderney.
So we basically picked the place with the least social rights possible, so there is no danger.
Exactly. Other than, of course, the agreements that we make with our community, right? Like you said, like it's still, like we're not held to very many external agreements because Alderney doesn't give a fuck. But we are held to the agreements that we make. If we say in the covenant that everyone who participates is going to get $20, if we don't do that, people can sue us. Like, there's still a contract there, or implicit contract between groups of people, and the people who, if there's this agreement and expectations set, then if we go back on the agreement and those expectations, then they can get angry and they can say, you owe me this, and
Alderney belongs to belongs to France. I don't know.
I think it's a UK Channel Island outside of France. I think so.
It's a British island. I think it's under UK. It's under UK. And
it's one of those islands like Guernsey or Isle of Man where there's a lot of groups that do like online poker or like money stuff online, money stuff online, and they just put their organization there. The cool thing with Alderney was that there's almost nothing that you have to do to be a organization there. It's like very lax. You can just say you're there and then you are. We didn't have to file papers or anything. Right, Ivy? Do you have any details on that? Oh, you're muted, Ivy. Oh, and we're at the top of the hour too.
Oh, sorry. I was talking I asked Coach B about if there's like an actual registration that we have to do. And he said we just have to write that we're registered in Alderney. So, yeah. There is no paperwork or, yeah. So, yeah, we're on top of the hour. Maybe we can keep discussing this and let's see if it can be a topic for our first legal talk show. So, yeah, I'll reach out to you, Teresa, and to you, Griff, to hack on to make plans around that call.
Yeah, and I assume that for that call we won't pick a topic until the day before, because that's just it's better that way.
All right. Okay.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Great.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.